as a publisher, a literary publisher, a fine art and literary publisher, I've always collaborated in a sense, but we call it, there's different names. It's not, you're not considered collaborators when you're the editor, and I mean, we just didn't use that language. But by the time we start using that language in an art context and such, it's all very familiar to me. But you wonder, is it going to be a collaboration where everyone sits down and does sketches together and sketches on each other's, and you come up with something brand new that none of them would ever have conceived of without the other? Or do you do something, and this is another alternative on the other extreme, which is I'll do my part and I'll pass it to you and you do your part, and I'll pass it to you and you do your part. So in this collaboration, we weren't sure. Betsy and I weren't sure what kind of collaboration it would be. Would it be linear? Would it be simultaneous? How would that work out? And but Betsy knew everyone and knew they'd worked together for many, many times. And her comment was, they know each other. They know they've done this before. They know what's possible. They know each other's work. So when we went into it, we started by hoping to have group meetings along the way. But that isn't real in most people's lives, to have the kind of time that it takes to sit down together and hash things out. So we hashed out some things, some basic things like the format, the size, the paper, the approach, the materials, paint, and we moved forward and kept in touch via email. And the first artist to work on the book was Ralph de Oliveira, who was very clear about what he had to offer and provided sketches. We asked for sketches, and he immediately had a sketch of what he would do, which would be the origin story of the creation story of the Chumash people, who he traces his lineage back to as they travel from the Channel Islands to the mainland across a rainbow bridge. Yermo elected to take the first shot at the book, and by that time we had some idea that because it would trace back to each person's roots, either the Chumash with Ralph, or the Peruvian Aztec with Carmen, or the Mexica or Aztec roots with Yermo, we started to think of it as a journey. So in the middle comes Carmen, and it was kind of based on people's availability that this sequence happened. First, Yermo was available in the summer, then Ralph would be available for 2 months in the fall, and then Carmen would be able to take over in mid-fall and work through to the beginning of the year. So we handed, this object, which we carefully picked up and would drive, and had a beautiful box made by, and the whole thing put together by my binder friend, Mindy Paget. And so it was all well protected and everything, and it arrived in Carmen's hands. And I started saying, well, it's pretty clear that, there's this rainbow coming in, and it's also moving from dark to light. And everyone said, yeah, it's pretty obvious it's moving from dark to light. So she was the transition. Pick up the rainbow, release the rainbow, start with richer tones, move into lighter tones, and wind up with this beautiful work of Yermo's on the end. And she really successfully did it with a central figure reaching out to both sides and tucked in under her arm and over her shoulder, and a couple of Peruvian gods. And one of the things we're doing with the book is taking elements of each person's painting, and in the trade edition, the little commercially printed edition, there will be like a legend on the backside. So the images that may be too small to read them, or of the different deities who are incorporated in, will be called out, and we'll have some description in Spanish and English who these are. Because that's what happens when you meet with the artist. It's like, well, what's going on here? Why this? Carmen has a beautiful wind figure coming in, and a corn goddess, lots of fertility, Peruvian moon god, stories associated with that. And in the end, it's just this lovely sequence that we titled Califas, the Ancestral Journey, passing, El Viaje Ancestral. So it's the journey of the ancestors, which links them and then links them to their communities here on the Central Coast.